Grand, stylish and glamorous. Many are the words we associate with Paris, the capital of haute couture, the place of birth of all fashions. But where does that all come from? The idea of French elegance and style, as we know it today, begins in the 17th century during the reign of King Louis XIV. During this period, we see France's international position becoming stronger. With it, its fashion spread through Europe. France sees political success due to a number of high-rank officials who developed the country's industries and commerce. A considerable number of these officials had seen their families' fortunes created by the textile industry. Like Colbert, the first minister of Louis XIV, and whose father had made fortune trading muslin. Colbert introduces mercantilism in France, in which it maximizes the exports and minimizes the imports by implementing subsidies to national industries and tariffs on imported goods. Colbert fostered manufacturings of many different fields, prohibited French men to immigrate, and invited specialized workers from other countries into France. The textile industry saw a great investment by the French government during the reign of Louis XIV, which spanned between 1643 and 1715. The silk industry benefited from protectionist laws with the increase of taxes on Italian silk. Colbert increased French silk production in Lyon that have been a silk production center since 1466 during the reign of Louis XI. French silk eventually became better than the Italian due to its innovative designs. By mid-17th century, over 14,000 looms were used in the production of silk and fed a third of the Lyon's population. As for wool, France starts producing high-quality wool in the Languedoc region. By focusing on luxury wool, France would not be in competition with more affordable wool produced in England, choosing to focus on the luxury market instead. But one of the great luxuries of the 17th century clothing was lace. In the previous reign of Louis XIII, his first minister, Richelieu, had prohibited the import of lace from Italy and Flanders. Colbert, on the other hand, will bring specialized embroiderers from Italy to start production in France. Lace would become an essential item in dressing for both men and women during the Baroque period. During his reign, Louis XIV introduced a strict dress code and a new code of etiquette at court. This would serve various purposes. The first one to ensure that the expensive clothes made in France would be worn all the time. The second, to control the nobility. These clothes and jewelry were extremely expensive. Often, aristocrats would have to resort to loans in order to keep up with the demands of the court, and the king was a lender. This economic situation would give the king control over the aristocracy. In order to keep these industries producing high levels of goods and to stimulate the economy, Colbert introduces seasonal fashions in the 1670s. This is the moment of spring, summer, and autumn-winter collections, which would encourage people to buy clothes on a predictable schedule, allowing the industry to synchronize the production and to keep the flow of stock. Obviously, that due to climate, there was always seasonal fashions, but now we have it formalized. In the summer, they would sell lightweight silks, parasols and fans. In the winter, velvet and satin, furs and muffs. Textile patterns would change every season to increase the need for buying updated fashions every year. The dissemination of these fashions was possible due to advances in printing. And the fashion magazine is born. Mercure Galant was launched in 1672. The magazine would have prints with fashion for both women and men and would have captions describing the outfits, its materials, and providing the right terminology. This magazine would not only talk about fashion, but also etiquette and all things elegant. Paris became the epitome of elegance and luxury. The capital of France was used as a marketing strategy, the postcard of elegant France. Paris would be the place to go for all things elegant and fashionable. It would provide an array of things to do unlike any other place. The king promoted an idea of French lifestyle that included dressing, eating, drinking, and living in elegant interiors, all made in France. Cafes of Paris became the reputable and aspiring places to see and be seen. Elegant ladies and gentlemen would gather in these cafes with beautifully curated interiors. When in Paris, one should make an appointment to the coiffeur. We would see the emergence of the famous hairdresser and later the famous dressmaker. But of all things, shopping became the utmost important aspect of visiting Paris. Due to its famous fashions, the capital of France became the display of all extraordinary French things. Before Louis XIV, shops were basically warehouses with no attention to decor. Sales would mostly be made at home, where merchants would bring goods to clients. From the 1680s, shops became more elaborate and attracted the attention of shoppers. Fabrics, lace, and accessories would be beautifully displayed. Shopping became an experience. A luxury textile industry, a sophisticated clientele associated with the dissemination of fashion trends, created the perfect context to make Paris the fashion capital of the Western world. In the second half of the 19th century, during the Second Empire, Napoleon III draws a plan to beautify and modernize Paris with its grand boulevards. A beautiful and modern city illuminated by gas lamps, honoring its reputation of the City of Lights. It is during the 1850s that we see the rise of the Parisian department stores catering to a growing middle class. Empress Eugenie, on the other hand, was the most fashionable woman of this period. She was the influencer of her time. Her choice for the clothes of the House of Worth would advance the business of Charles Frederick Worth, who created fashion shows to display the new collections. He was also the creator of the Chambre syndicale de la haute couture, formalizing the business of haute couture. Due to the well-established textile industry, many people were trained to become professionals in various aspects of dressmaking. The qualified workforce and a strong industry would allow for the high fashion business to flourish. A combination of grand boulevards, glamorous interiors, and sparkling lights created the perfect set for gatherings in restaurants, around fine dining, debating great ideas, and parade the latest fashions. Paris is still a symbol of glamour and elegance. Many other cities all over the world conquered the status of glamour and elegance, but Paris remains the most elegant of them all, at least in our imagination.